Hey guys, Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this don't work without you guys, man. I tell you what, this is what you live for. This is Eagles Cowboys Hate Week. I know neither team is where we wanted to be. We both thought that we'd be like maybe 11-4 or something like that going into a game like this. And playing for something more than where we are being at 7-7. We're both at 500. Both teams have had disappointing seasons. But at this moment, it doesn't matter. This is actually still another opportunity for Dak and Carson Wentz. Now, see, we're actually blessed in the NFC East. You think about Darth Vader, he's got to have Luke Skywalker. You think about all of the great quarterbacks and things like that. You had Roger Staubach and you had Terry Bradshaw. You had guys to compare with. You had Jim Kelly and Dan Marino. And for years, hopefully, we will have this rivalry of Dak versus Wentz and Jared Goff. And this is one of those defining moments where everything is on the line. And let's be honest here, and this is not to throw shade at Carson Wentz, because you know what? I called him Wheelchair Wentz, and Carson Wentz has shown that he is a really great quarterback. The fact that he has been able to stay upright this season and not get injured, and with the team that's around him, he is doing some damage out there. As bad as everybody makes him out to be, the fact that he is, I think, seventh in the NFL in passing touchdowns with the receiving core that he's had. That's right. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys what you wouldn't give to my quarterback. With the receiving guys, although you do have Zach Ertz, Dallas Gilbert's not that bad either. But regardless, he's still a really good quarterback. And then, of course, there's my quarterback, Dak Prescott. And we are lucky that we've got these two battling it out. And as bad as our seasons have been, this is everything on the line. Now, I've said, because everybody always talks about Carson Wentz, he was an MVP candidate. He's a Super Bowl winner. And that is true. He does have a ring, much the way that David Carr has one when he was with the Giants sitting on the bench. But when it comes to money games where everything is on the line, he hasn't really had those games yet where it's all. Now, some people will say, yeah, against the Rams in 2017. Okay, I'll give you that one. But this is one of those opportunities for Wentz to go ahead and say, yeah, I'm that guy, as well as Dak Prescott. So you got to wonder who's going to come on top. It's one of those things that on paper, Cowboys, we should end up blowing the Eagles away. We should. But that doesn't mean anything, what's on paper. Because if you go by what's on paper, the Browns should be headed to the Super Bowl. But yesterday, Michael Irvin was talking about leadership, which is key as a quarterback because you need people to believe in you, to show no fear, and have people want to follow you. So let's listen to Michael Irvin.
I do like both of those quarterbacks. I know, Dak has way more wins right now. I was studying that the other day than Carson Wentz, and I love that. I love him for what he does on the football field, but even more than that, his leadership, the team loves playing for him. When you can get the quarterback to be the heart and soul of a team, you got a great thing because you have all the guys wanting to play for the leader of the team. I've heard rumblings that that's not the situation with Carson Wentz when Nick Foles was there. Yeah. And I think that hurts the quarterback if that is the perception in the locker room.
Wow. Now, what that means is, when you have a case like this weekend going through with Dak Prescott having a hurt shoulder, we don't know how bad it is, and it's going to probably change the way things go with this team. This is one of those times where your guy is hurt. You rally behind him. It's no man left behind like in the battlefield. You take care of your buddy. And that means, when Fletcher Cox is coming, that means that I'm manning up and I'm going to make sure that guy doesn't get there. Now, so what does this mean for the Cowboys as far as this game goes? It's probably, depending, we don't know. For all we know, this could be something made up to make the Eagles relax. I don't know. I watched the film from the game and the play that they said he got hurt. He wasn't slow getting up. You didn't see him shaking his arm. You saw him go down. He got up, went back to the huddle, and he kept on going. So I don't know how bad it is. Now, again, I've done things where I've tweaked my body and I'm so full of adrenaline. You know, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a great example of that, though. We were working on an apartment building, and we were stripping cabinets. I was stripping, using an oil-based stripper on the cabinets. We had turned off the stoves, for the ball cocks, but these stoves were old. You had to reach up underneath the burner to turn them off, and I thought it was off. And as I'm stripping the cabinets, there's a certain balance between fumes, fuel, and oxygen. And when you hit that critical point, fire happens. So it turned out that ball cock hadn't shut off that pilot light all the way. And this is one of those things you'll remember for the rest of your life. I remember the stripper catching fire. The roar. Oh shit. And like they always tell you, when a fire happens, get down low because that's where the fresh air is. It was black here up, oxygen down there. And so I left. I got out of there. I get outside of it. And I realize my pants is on fire because I had stripper in it. So I take a doormat and I put out the fire. In fact, you can kind of still see a little bit of the scars. This is like 20 years ago on my wrist from putting out the fire. My fingertips were actually blistered. But I had the wherewithal when this all happened. I didn't notice the fire that I was burned to knock on the doors. Everybody, there's a fire, get out. I went across the street because this is back when there was pay phones. You didn't have a cell phone. Called the guy we were working for. Called the fire department. Did all of this, and I'm standing outside. I hadn't slowed down at all. I'm looking at the fire as the fire trucks roll up. My buddy, the guy with me, he's like, Mark? You're kind of fucked up. So what are you talking about? Look at my hands, and I see my blisters. I was like, oh, I need to go home and take care of that. Kind of messed up, ain't it? Need to go, pop the blisters, put some bandages on it. Well, this is that leg that got burnt and skin grafted. At the time, I didn't know that all of the skin had fallen off my leg because the adrenaline was pumping. So it could be Dak Prescott is so focused on playing this game, he didn't even notice that he was injured. That it was after the fact. It's like, oh, it's a little sore. And then you get the stiffness in it. So if that's the case, if Dak Prescott now is a little sore, one, he's going to have the adrenaline that's going to be pumping because he's going to want to beat Philadelphia. Two, I'm sure he's going to be taking some medication that's going to numb it. And as long as it's not going to be doing like damage to it, like making it severe, where you got a partial tear, you go out and play and you tear it all the way. It's something like that. He'll be out there playing. But what this is probably going to do is change how the Cowboys go. Because if that shoulder is bothering him, what we may see is we'll come back down to earth to more of a dink and dunk situation, which means you're throwing screen passes to Zeke Elliott. You're doing play action where you're moving the pocket, where you're making the defender, if they're covering, like for example, I've talked about this. You guys know, I talk about this all the time. If the Eagles, which are a better run-stopping team, are going to go and get Zeke, you play action it. You fake the dive. You have Dak Prescott roll out. Get outside the pocket. And you end up having the tight end come across. You have the wide receiver come across. Easy throws. You end up using Tony Pollard in the screen game where you're using it like a long handoff. You do things that you're not trying to go 60 yards down the field because you don't have the arm strength right now. You're going to do things that are going to help protect the quarterback and make easier hits, in which case it's going to come down to a bruising game. A bruising game that the Dallas Cowboys need to win. I'm Mark Holmes, and we only have 2 more days until it gets on. I will see you guys soon. It's alive!